Hi, I'm Steve Ruth, and I'm a big advocate, proud to be a member of Capital Caring. And in response to that, I can't be at the meeting on Wednesday, but the comments Carolyn sent around, I have some that might be a little unconventional, and if you decide to ignore them, that's okay. But I wanted to just put them out there for you to consider. They don't take very long. I'll be commenting on those four issues, and you might wonder why I'm mentioning biblical quotes, but that particular one, as you may know, I wrote a pretty long book about the 73 books in the Christian tradition, as well as the what Christians call the Old Testament, so the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Bible. So I'm pretty tuned in on this. And what I can say for sure is, based on my experience as a volunteer, a happy volunteer at Capital Caring, is that Matthew 23 does not apply. Matthew 23 is the one, 23:12 is the one that says, everyone who exalts himself shall be humbled, and he who humbles himself shall be exalted. And I would like to say that we do not want to think that way at Capital Caring. I don't think we exalt ourselves nearly enough. And I'll try to give you some samples of why I think that is true, but more importantly, what we can consider immediately to do about it. Something that I've done myself in plenty of places, particularly in my role as a sort of an informal PR director in my large faculty at the university. And so I'll give you some quick assumptions and then some implementable suggestions, and then summarize. These are the assumptions, and I know I hope they're all correct, but it's what I'm basing this on. First of all, that management and staff really do find themselves open to making some changes. I do a lot of management consulting, I have in my career, and a lot of times it turns out that people say they want to change, but when it comes down to even changing a little bit, they don't really want to change. They're not really open to it. They don't have experience in doing it. And so if we don't, then we do need to bring in something that will perhaps be sure that's true. But I'm sure we are ready. Secondly, I know that our Capital Caring message is nothing but good news, a great blessing. It's a wonderful thing. So we've got a terrific message, and we have a terrific product. So the third one might be the most significant one. I'm assuming that there's somebody in Capital Caring who understands public relations and outreach, including using TV, social media, personal follow-up. That's lots of phone calls, lots of shoe leather, and most important, being able to find and distribute at least one great Capital Caring story every single day to a wide audience. I can give you the first 15 or 20 of those stories. I've passed them on to Greg and others just one about 2 weeks ago, this woman I visited as a substitute. She told me two things that I think I thought should have made the front pages, but I don't think we think that way. And so that we do need somebody, and you don't need to hire a staff person to do that. It's a matter of feeling the mindset to do this on the PR. It's there, it's possible. It doesn't take rocket science to do it, and it does take shoe leather, and it does take phone calls and visits, that kind of thing. These are four suggestions that I have. First of all, there are probably lots of other better ones, but these are mine. Start collecting, writing, and distributing a fresh story every single day, which means that everybody's looking for them and is turning them in. It means that somebody has to write them. It may be that the manager has to write for a while, the first few of them, and then other people write them maybe, but 120, 130 words, a really good story. And then, of course, having the story is only part of it. The next part of it is aim for media coverage, local press, regional radio, TV, social media, every single day, every day. It's a mindset thing. I know a lot of you are probably saying, oh yeah, we do that. We thought we had a reporter. That's not the way you want to approach it. You have to be very, very pushy, and maybe that's not in the in the mindset of everybody. But for something like this, if you want to raise those numbers, that has to happen, and it can happen. I threw this in just because it's my own sense, because I do a lot of work in video, and we certainly ought to jazz up the learning requirements for volunteers to include online elements. Whether you're in the Jesuits or if you're in a street gang or a lot of these other very highly closely associated organizations, you know that there's some things you have to know. There's some group knowledge. And a lot of people find that to be a sense of pride that you have to know these different things. And I think that with this vast array of archives that we have at Capitol Caring, of the best lecture, the best vignettes, the best this and that, it's just, we just definitely need to put that up there for people to look at. And I'm not talking about that Facebook page that some people contribute to. That's not what I'm speaking about. That is not, to me, the right, it's good, it's terrific, but it's not what's going to be the most useful. And finally, be open to letting volunteers do new, untraditional things. I worked at the store a couple of times before I actually came up and was able to do some of the other things and got my training. And I also, for a while, was able to help Karen. I do this for my church and for other organizations. With grieving, I wasn't nearly as qualified as some of her specialists are, but I did it. I haven't been asked to do it for a long time, but I think it's an example. There are probably a lot of other things that volunteers can do that if you let them, and if you don't think of them just as visiting people, but as much more than that, I think that would be helpful. So here's the summary. Don't, instead of he who humbles himself will not be exalted. He who exalts himself will be, for now, because we do need to exalt ourselves a little bit. Immediately, I think we should start listing dozens of good stories. There are so many of them out there, and you put them down, and then you collect them, and then you start sending them to people, and then you relentlessly follow up. Do an inventory of PR skills and deficiencies. I've never seen a list where our Capitol Caring had said, these are the 10 things we were really good at in terms of PR, and here are 10 things we're not very good at. That list could be assembled in half an hour, and it could be the basis of any change that is made, assuming that 130, 170 is a real problem. I don't understand it at all, but I know it is. And we need to move from a sense of being comfortable in what we're used to, maybe to an action phase where we're actually ready to be to consider what's that term that they sometimes use, where you want to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Well, maybe we're a little comfortable on this one subject. Don't forget, our message is fabulous. Capitol Caring is great. What we do is great. Our people are great. There's nobody like us. And so I guess to sum it up, it's not a secret. Let's let others in on the secret by relentless, uncharacteristic PR. And I hope that is a reasonable summary. And if any of this seems kind of silly or nutty, it's just because I'm that way. But I wish all my colleagues in Capitol Caring the best. I love being part of it, and I hope this is helpful. That's it, Steve. Bye.